party on Friday, April 5th at the Bentley Hotel, 9 a.m. Would you please stand for the invocation and prayer?
Dearly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the many blessings you've given us, the opportunity to serve our community. We ask you guys, guide our judgment, guide our decision making, and give us wisdom as we make the decisions that help those in our community. This is we ask in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Our pledge. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Here.
Dr. Lewis. Ms. Katz. Here. Mr. Carroll.
Here.
Mr. Patel.
Here.
Mr. Morgan.
Here.
Mr. Powell.
Here.
Mr. Perry, you have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We have 3 action items today. Let's just get right to them. First is to consider rescinding or declaring void all the actions taken at the Monday, February 19, 2024 meeting of the Greater Alexandria Economic Development Authority. Because the meeting was not properly noticed pursuant to the Louisiana meeting law, Louisiana revised statute 42:11 @ Do we have a motion to rescind and declare null and void all actions taken at the meeting on February 19, 2024?
So moved.
We have a second. Okay. We have any discussion from our commissioners?
We'll start in reverse for you say this item was placed on this agenda. And this is my second time meeting you, right? And you placed this item on the agenda. And as you know, because we're attorneys and so we have certain things we are professionally, ethically responsible for doing. Like, for example, notifying each other when we file stuff, when you send a courtesy copy and so on and so forth. This item on this agenda was sent to all the board members as well as Ms. Angela asking that it be placed on the agenda. With all due respect, out of just common courtesy, right? Not even as the GAEDA attorney, because obviously if it's on there, that's pretty much out the window. Just as common courtesy from one colleague to another. It would have been greatly appreciated and with respect for you to call me, because the last meeting we had, you asked that certain minutes not be approved because you needed to look into it. Those were your words. I gave my position. I was expecting, because although you are an attorney, you're not the attorney for GAEDA. I was expecting you to contact me and say, well, Ms. Tiffany, this is what I see, so on and so forth, and then this item is on the agenda. And so for it to be moved and seconded by commissioners after, and I'm going to explain to you why this item is completely inappropriate and and shouldn't be taken any action on. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But just from you to me, Mr. Upton, and I did not want to do this in the public, but since, and then interestingly enough, you contacted me after you did that. After. Not that it even matters, but I would have never done that. Or any other of my colleagues. I would like to know, you put this on the agenda, and it's been moved by Mr. Carroll and seconded by Mr. Callis as to declaring void all action because the meeting was not properly noticed pursuant to Louisiana Open Meeting Law. As the attorney for GAEDA, I said it was. And so I'm asking you to explain to this body that particular motion that you asked Ms. Angela to place on the agenda as to why your opinion as a board member, not as the lawyer, right, to place this item on the agenda. I would really like to hear that as the attorney for GAEDA.
Well, Mayor, where we are right now is comments. We have a motion on the floor in a second. And I'm asking comments from commissioners. Legal counsel can comment at their appropriate place on the agenda.
Well, as commissioners, I would ask that you all ask him to explain what was inappropriate.
I certainly would like to know.
Thank you.
There's nothing inappropriate.
That's not the answer.
Well, I think we're talking about two different things. I mean, you're saying what's inappropriate, the posting of this, or what?
Did you hear the legal counsel, Mr. Callis?
I sure did.
And we're not gonna get tripped up in words this morning. Everything is clear. Explain. What are you trying to accomplish here, Mr. Upton?
Well, the meeting on February 19th, 2024 was clearly held in violation of the open meetings law because that Monday was a federal holiday, the president said, and that the 24-hour notice wasn't satisfied. And it's that simple. So as chairman, I have the responsibility to uphold the laws of the state of Louisiana. That's why I called the meeting.
Or was it a state holiday or a city holiday?
Well, let me say this, Ms. Cass. And Mr. Morgan is right, getting tripped up on work. What he's saying is, it wasn't properly noticed. I'm gonna read to you what it says. It was not properly noticed pursuant to Louisiana open meeting law because it was he stated, a federal holiday. I want to be clear, because it is my responsibility to represent the organization, not any person, not any interest, to represent the organization. And with Mr. Upton, I'm sure is aware that as a public body, right, GAEDA is required to comply with all the laws, including the posting of the meetings not less than 24 hours. And we went through that. Mr. Patel said last, well, it wasn't, I heard, you said, well, Monday was a holiday. That's what she said, okay? Looking at the agenda for the February 19th meeting, it was posted at 4:15, and as long as the GAEDA board met in accordance with the revised statute, prior to the 4:15 on that next Monday, the public notice requirement was met. The question becomes, can you count Monday? Does everybody agree with that? That's the question, right? Can you count Monday? As you know, there is no legislative prohibition or no legal prohibition against this body meeting on President's Day. The question that he presented was, can the 24 hours be counted on Monday? I think we agree on that's the question, correct? There is the Louisiana revised statute, which I'm almost certain Mr. Upton is quite aware of. And it says that, and I have it here, just so that everyone is clear, because this is important for this vote, that you have all the knowledge, just not some of the knowledge, right? So if, Ms. Angela, pass that on for me, please. Louisiana, no, I'm gonna finish.
It's not time for, you got 2 minutes to let's finish so we can move on with the meeting.
Mr. Upton, as legal counsel, I don't get a time frame on when I can talk. I'm going to speak. So this board is fully aware, before they make a vote, that it's an educated vote, okay? And I think that's my responsibility, and that is what I was hired to do, whether you like it or not, Mr. Upton. And I don't know why you would be against me giving them the law so they can read it for themselves. So if I may continue. Louisiana revised statute says that the third Monday for February, Washington's birthday and President's Day is a legal holiday. But that's on this first part of this revised statute. So that's what he said, it's legal holiday. But you must read the entire statute, not just part of it. You must, and I'm sure no one was told this part. You have to go to subsection B, and I highlighted it for you to see it for yourself. Not what I say, what Louisiana revised statute says. Subsection B that I highlighted, Washington's birthday, Memorial Day, Huey Long Day shall be, that means must be, observed only in such manner as the governor may proclaim. Therefore, Governor Edwards, guess what? Thank you, Ms. Tyler. He did not proclaim it as a legal holiday. President's Day is a federal holiday. It's not a state holiday, which means it's not a legal holiday, which means that we conducted regular business on that day, as did the city of Alexandria. I have their calendar here as well. They were open and regular for business, as did the state of Louisiana. It was regular work day for them, as it was for this organization that you sit on as a body. It was a regular work day. Unless the governor proclaimed it as a legal holiday, it is not. In short, President's Day is considered a holiday but it has no legal effect on GAEDA, the ability to meet and conduct business, because it's not a legal holiday, which is required by the law, which is why when the meeting was called, the 24 hours was able to be counted because it's not a legal holiday. Not says Tiffany Nicole Sanders as the attorney for GAEDA, but says the law, and you have it in your hands. And I would also like at this time to hand you out the holiday schedule from the state, from Governor Edwards, which shows that President's Day is not on there because he did not proclaim it. And I would urge you, board members, all of you, that before you take a vote, that you read that law, because as he says, it should be null and void because it wasn't in compliance and properly noticed. I seriously say to you that if any action is taken to nullify or void the action that was taken on February 19th meeting, I must warn those particular individuals that you are seriously exposing yourself to litigation because it's written in black and white.
All right, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second, and I will just comment on the law part of it. It is a legal holiday. The first section says it shall be. They are legal holidays. There's a difference between the legal holidays and the observance of legal holidays. That's a critical distinction. It clearly was not, and I didn't say federally, it was a state legal holiday and it was a federal legal holiday, so.
It is not.
But anyway, okay, thank you, ma'am.
It is not, and it's indicated on that form.
All right, we have,
You have.
do we have any other discussion from the commissioners?
Yes, I'd like to say something.
Okay.
You know, I haven't seen in my 19 years working with GAEDA the spectacle that we've been in the news, or any other controversy about the litigation involved in it. And it's disheartening. For reasons that we all know that can't be discussed openly, we're here. It's nothing fishy going on or anything like that, it's been said, but we're here. I trust legal counsel's opinion. She's done nothing but protect GAEDA at all costs in the years that she's been the attorney. So she has my full confidence. I will say that it's obvious that all the agenda items that's from that Monday meeting are not on this agenda, which disturbs me. Because one of those things were my compensation package. And I will, if you void that contract, I will have no other recourse but to defend myself and my career. And I'm fully prepared to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to say a few things.
Yes, sir.
Since I came to this committee, first of all, I didn't walk in demanding that what you guys doing wrong. Who does that? You would think that big brains like this come together, supposed to be the think tank of helping this city move forward. But since the overnight swearing in of a couple of these members, it's just becoming more chaotic. I've said on this committee, and there's been decisions made that I have not agreed with at all. However, I never felt that this is a group I cannot work with until recently. I am not here to waste the people's time or my time on let's talk out both sides of the mouth. To put on a service. And that's what we're doing here. I wish you would just come clean and let us know what you want to accomplish here besides just erasing a meeting that happened. And I trust counsel, Ms. Sanders.
Thank you.
I really do. And then I trust these big brain of mine to do a little research of my own. So is this what we're gonna have to deal with every month? Maybe 2 or 3 times a month when a meeting just gets called out of sky because I didn't like something. And hey, I got the numbers to overturn the decision. Please, please, I actually do not waste my time or the people's time.
Hey, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from the commissioners?
Typically, when you call a special meeting, don't you talk to the executive committee and discuss it before you do that, or is that something that we don't do?
Ma'am, I've only been on this question above, so.
Because typically, you know, there's an executive committee, and then we bring it to the board, but that didn't happen. I got the email, and I guess from the public got the email from you.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
the email, you also threatened that there may be a lawsuit against the board?
I didn't threaten, I just.
Or you
commented.
mentioned?
Yeah, I
that there's-
mentioned,
Who
yeah, I
talked
don't,
to you about bringing a lawsuit?
ma'am, that's confidential.
Well, if it's, I don't think that's confidential. If I'm going to be exposed to a lawsuit, I believe I have the right to know who's going to bring that.
And as the attorney, if they're saying there's a potential lawsuit, Mr. Upton, as the chairman of this organization, wouldn't you share that with me as the attorney for, if so, because interestingly enough, like I told you yesterday when we talked after this, no one has contacted, it's interesting that they contact you about a lawsuit. I've been the attorney for GAEDA for many, many, many years. I haven't heard anything about a lawsuit except from you. So I'm asking you, since it's confidential to the board member, as the attorney, who is threatening a lawsuit about something that is clearly, that was done legally, as I just explained?
Any more comments, ma'am?
Yes, the question.
Well, I'm not here to answer questions.
Oh,
They're not
believe
for
me.
me.
Answer the other.
One of your fellow board members, would you answer that for me, please?
I'm not revealing who told me what.
Oh, so we got
Any more,
secrets.
any more comments from the public? I mean, from the commission?
I believe we have a right to know who's threatening us with a lawsuit.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate
You're not going to answer that question.
No.
No, you're not. Could it be because it's the city and you work for a law firm that represents the city?
it. No, ma'am.
No, that wouldn't be it?
All right, we have a motion and a second. We've had every commissioner discuss. All in favor?
No, we have to do public comment first.
Oh, I'm sorry, public comment. Yeah, public comment.
My name's Gary Johnson. I'm a councilman in District 2. First, I want to apologize to Ron Morgan, my friend for 20 years. Ron knew my brother before he knew me. He expected my brother to come back. Real comeback. I did not know this was going to be, I was getting into this.
Yes, sir.
So if you choose to resign right now, brother, come on. For the last 6 days, it's time we're going through the same stuff. We got the same things going over here, we got on the council. That's almost like same thing. It's different than on you for years. This is embarrassing. We got cameras, KLB, we got gravity checks. This is embarrassing now. It got to stop. But I'm gonna tell you something that I know from my experience. Things gonna have to change. And I'm gonna make a promise to everybody. Ron, been up for 20 years, I make a promise I don't break it. It's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right. These sticky notes right here, well, I write stuff down when I know what's gonna happen. So I was on my way to New York, and I always predict this meeting's gonna happen. I already know what's gonna happen. I got it written right in my wallet. I take my wallet. So I'm gonna say this right here. This is a sideshow. This is what it is, a sideshow. Everybody on the same sheet of music over there, the same, y'all sing the same hymn book, the same hymn book. But I want to tell y'all, it's gonna be all right. But Ron, if you want to resign right now, brother, you are welcome because you got grandkids to raise.
Considering it, I'm really considering, however, Ron Morgan can throw his bag in his back of his seat and choose somewhere else to live. And after I retired for 3 times deployment and combat zone, I chose to make Alexandria my home. And I stick to that. My children decided to make Alexandria their home. I have grandchildren, embedded in the school system here in Alexandria. That's my dog in the fight. I would not quit because we got the enemy at the gate. The enemy's at the gate in this room. And if I leave and everybody they could just aggravate or disturb with crossing and mixing words leave, then they win. And it's a shame that it's coming down to winning and losing with you all. Okay.
Education is, it was council. No one said because of the public.
Well, again, that's how the rumors, and I'll get sorry. But
Romans.
again,
Got some
that's why I wanted to ask the question.
All right.
All right, thank you.
And Mr. Carroll, again, even if that were so, I've given it to you.
No, And I've read through it.
And it's clear, that this is what a proclamation, I didn't want to bombard y'all, because this is not a class, I didn't want to bombard you with paperwork. If it was a legal holiday, he would have proclaimed it, and that's what the law says he must do. He did not proclaim it, and it's not indicated. Everybody was at work that day, including the city, including GAEDA, including the state. That's what the bottom line is. If you're saying you want to notify, and Mr. Patel, I certainly respect what you say. And if that's the case, that's your reason, I get it, but, and if that's your reason for notifying, but it wouldn't be because it was done in, according to him,
Okay,
in
ma'am.
violation,
We got.
in violation,
We're in
because
public
it was
comment.
not done in violation.
Public comments, please.
But I respect what you're saying.
Ma'am, please state your name and, provide your comments. Thank you.
Mr. Upton, please don't disrespect me again.
We're in public comments, thank you.
I understand where we are, don't disrespect me.
Please, state your name and
I will.
provide your comments.
Ms. Bell, Mr. Collins, District 2. So now you know who I am. I've been watching you sitting there when Ms. Sanders say something, you nodding your head, you shaking your head. We all know what this is all about. Everybody in this room. Mr. Patel may say it's me, it's not about Ms. Bernardo. Her compensation package. Why in the hell, and I'm gonna say hell, and I'm gonna make it about race. A black woman can't make what she's making. Is it not okay for a black woman to make that amount of money to be maybe the highest paid public servant in Rapides Parish? We know why you two was put on this board, and you know why too. You sat there, Mr. Upton, and said that you don't remember, or you don't, since you sat on this board before, and this cast asked you about bringing stuff towards the executive session, and you sit there and you said you don't remember, but yet you were on the board. So we all know in this room what you're trying to do. We also know what you two, or why you two was placed on this board. It's an agenda. City council, or maybe I should say the mayor.
Yeah.
Anything involving money, he wants his hands in it. Wake up, Mr. Callis.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further public comment?
Good morning. My name is Celine Hall. And Miss Linda said a lot. And because we've been actually being very observant of what's been going on, the ordinance being changed so quickly, the scathing letter one of the councilwomen wrote to take all the experience Ms. Bernardo has from her by trying to seek outward for someone else to do a job that she's been probably doing for 19 years. It's amazing. I don't know what this is. It's in the air. And I'm trying not to say something I might have to probably excuse myself from saying. It is racial. It is an African-American woman who has power, and we know that is threat to the white supremacy world now. It's a shame that we're at this point in a city that is almost 60% African-American, and we have no voice. I always call it Ferguson. It goes back to Ferguson, Missouri, when they realized that they were being robbed and being mistreated by them being the majority, because not enough of us speak up for situations like this. Ms. Bernardo deserves that from one fellow veteran to another. We're fighting even in our own lives after we've served and been in conflicts and been in and out of the country. We're still fighting on our own land to be recognized, be appreciated for what we bring to the table. This GAEDA board has been in inception for a long time, and as I was learning about the history of it, it was only two people here at the beginning, and that was Mr. Moeller and Angie Bernardo. So it's just amazing that we're sitting here quickly running through, just like we did with the ordinance over across the street, putting new members in after the other members were already there. And now we're rescinding on the information, the voting that took place with the previous commissioners. You quickly scooted them out the way so you powerhouses can get in here and take over. We definitely know this is not about a day, a legal day. It's not about that. It's to get her out of her seat and take away her money. Because she, in your eyesight, in a male, let me say it like this, in a male-dominated, white male-dominated society powerhouse, she does not deserve. This is what this is about. And we need to stay, just like Mr. Morgan said, let's just be straight up. I'm a type of person where if you don't like me, look me in the face and tell me that. Don't play games. Because if you look me in my face, I know how to handle you then. I know how to be around you. I can even work with you because I've done that in my years of being in the military, in my federal years, all of that. I've worked with people that did not like me, but I can do the job. Because it's not about them liking me, it's about doing the job. And if she's been doing the job, what is the problem? And why do you guys are so hell-bent on brand new people coming and voting her out? It's amazing. Because this is what this is about. You want her out of that seat. And like Miss Linda said, this is not y'all. This is your mayor putting his hands in everything like he does. He throws the stone and he hides his hands, and he's good at getting the people to do it. He got Lizzie to write the letter. He got you guys to change, he got Mr. Washington to change the ordinance so you guys could get up in here. And we're at this point now. This is to rescind her from her livelihood. This is what this is. And it's unfair. And I pray, Ms. Sanders, that you find a way to definitely rectify this on the legal standpoint. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any further public comments?
Yes, sir. Mine is just a truck.
Hey, look, so the commissioner,
To the microphone.
Mr. Upton, after she's done speaking, I would like to say something.
okay, and look, the commission long-standing policy has been 3 minutes, so that you could try to hold comments in 3 minutes.
Yes, sir, I have my time.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna clock you. I'm probably not, but thank you.
So my name is Karen Franklin, and I stand before just you, this board today to get a little bit of clarity based on a couple of things that I've heard. And it's about your process. I, like Mr. Upton, am not as adequately prepared with all the ins and outs of GAEDA, as you stated here earlier. He said he's only been here shortly for a few months, so he didn't know. My first question in observance was, the conversations that you're having actually go into what I would consider a private matter, meaning compensation. Before you discuss something like that, does executive session happen before public sessions? It's my question, if I may ask a question.
Ma'am, this is public comment period, but
So-
we're not here to talk about compensation. That's not an executive session issue at all. We're here talking, the agenda item has nothing to do with compensation, but I appreciate your comments.
Well, thank you, because the only reason I would know that is because Mr. Patel just gave a little deep brief into wage compensation factors. So that's why I asked the question. So I would ask that in a manner in which we all want, I would like to say, adhere to, is avoiding the appearance of unorderly, improper conduct during meetings. Over the last few weeks, I've witnessed quite a bit of that via the television for the city of Alexandria. And I would like to feel that it's not going to be a continuing factor throughout every public body meeting that we have. So that was my first question. The other question that I have is Greater Alexandria economic development, which is a proud thing for this city, for any city. However, if there are threats or mentions of lawsuits, can you tell me who's going to pay for the legal expenses for lawsuits? Mr. Upton?
Ma'am, this is public comment, but I have no idea who's going to pay for lawsuits.
Okay, well, thank you. And the reason I asked the question is because sitting here, I just heard, and you say public comment, I am commenting on the things that I've heard made present today, nowhere else. So if there are lawsuits levied against the Greater Economic Development Organization, which is here to build a better Greater Alexandria, then I think the citizens would be in unrest. So I don't know who's out there thinking that that's the right thing to do, but please, 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 as a board, unite against anything that would disrupt that for this community. Anyone, any person, place, anything that's going to come against the greater development of this city. Okay. And thank you. And as you all were talking, the
legislative stuff, I just happened to Google the state and started to look. And I did make note and saw that, from my own education, that there is nothing withholding a public body from meeting on what you would consider a holiday.
Yeah.
That is in the legislative open law revised September 2023 document stated by the state of Louisiana. So I just Googled that, Mr. Upton, I'm sorry, while I was sitting there, okay? So those are my comments. Again, please give consideration to the impact of the outcome of not just what you're voting on, but what you are actually doing. Your actions count. You are reflective of the city of Alexandria, the state of Louisiana, and the people that you're serving.
Thank you very much.
And I did 3 minutes.
Thank you. Any further comments?
Yes, you think we'll keep that?
Just please state your name.
Lorenzo Davis,
And if you could try to keep your comments to 3 minutes.
yeah, I'm
Thank you, sir.
no problem. Very Alexandria, Development Authority. I've been engaged politically recently. I've seen things that are disappointing. I've seen the actions of people that have been placed in position of power and have not thought of public interest, the well-being of citizens above the interests of one person or people that have an agenda. When I look at this room, it's like fighting the fight we fought Tuesday at the city council meeting. It's a fixed fight. It's a plan. When I ran for mayor, I was playing Midland. A lot of my friends watched her. We talked and I talked to, I have a lot of friends in high places that talk to me about what's going on even now in our GAEDA. You know, it's not right. What was done was legal. I was a part of that meeting. We have a legal attorney that represents GAEDA and have done a fine job for a long time.
Thank
you. And now we bring in the bulldog, the guy that's the monster that can do the things that other people can't do. Well, I've been around those people in business a long time, even in politics. And I've seen bulldogs, no matter how bad they are, they get taken down. So I'm advising you to look at the situation and unify. You put your thoughts together and make the right decision based on not just right or wrong. I mean, Ms. Fernando was here from the beginning. She learned the job. She earned the right to be sitting where she's sitting. I mean, whether she's black, white, male, female, she's done her job. So afford her the opportunity to prove to you everybody is being looked at. And I'm not afraid to speak my speech and say what's on my mind. This is definitely corrupt and it's wrong. Totally wrong. I mean, it's unbelievable that we're so divided. So divided. I said that in my campaign. I knew what Jock would do. This is division. Total division.
Yeah.
And you're working for him. And he knows I'm not. He knows I know. So we're going to do everything we can. Ms. Fernando, support you, fight for you, and do everything we can to work with Ms. Tiffany Sanders to make sure that this is overturned, justice is done. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further public comments?
Yep.
Good morning. I'm Dr. Teresa Armstead. I'm the president of the Louisiana State Beauty and Barbers Association. And we got here by default because we had our workshop here in October. Ms. Martha Turner informed us about the grant because we would be bringing money to the city of Alexandria. We were excited because we had never gotten a grant before. So when I heard that Ms. Angela became president, I was like, that's exciting. And then I heard more news, and I want to make sure I'm correct. Your mother was one of the founders? Did she have anything to do with it, Ms. Angela? She did?
With,
Oh, you can't answer?
with GAEDA?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, congratulations. And my thing is, as being a business owner, I would want my child to keep my legacy going. And together we stand, divided we fall. I don't know the ins and outs of GAEDA. I'm new to this, but it just tears me apart because I have children, one son, a wife, and grandkids. And I'm also a school teacher. And I see this every day, and I'm tired of it. And it's like, you wonder why the youngsters don't vote, because it's called politics. And I'm sick of it. I vote. Try to get my son there. My vote don't count. And it's really sad. But in so many ways, they are correct. And I'm tired of it. I pray to God she keeps her position. But at the end of the day, I'm going to keep praying because God has the last say. I feel like we got caught in the fire of this. Because on that day, our grant was approved. So are we still going to receive the funds? I don't know. But guess what? I paid all the bills already. Because I don't want to come here and be in debt. I'm very disappointed. I pray to God Alexandria gets it together. But I do have family members in politics all over Louisiana. And I drove here today, and they're going to hear about it. God bless y'all.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am.
Tracy Snow, former chair of the GAEDA Board of Commissioners. So I didn't prepare anything to say, but listening to what has been said and just thinking about all of this as the fight has started since I received my notification of reappointment of removal from the GAEDA board. To me, it's a foregone conclusion that the balance of power has been shifted, and whatever the vote comes to today, it's pretty foregone again that it's going to be a 4-3 vote for rescinding the February agenda. I'm not even sure I have words for that. I'm appalled, actually. You heard from Ms. Sanders. You heard what the legality of this is. I urge you then also to think back to the prayer that Mr. Carroll gave at the beginning of this meeting. He was asking your Lord to help you, right? That's what I'm asking too.
Thank you very much. Any further public comments?
Yes.
So please state your name and try to limit to 3 minutes, please.
My name is Jay Scott. Well, I heard earlier, Mr. Upson, you said you knew, right? To the board?
Yes, that's correct.
You know. You was here time back. You was attorney, am I correct? For GAEDA board?
Yeah, I was the attorney.
So you're not new. You know the rules and laws and policies. If I ask Mr. Tiffany, Ms. Angela, at the time, has any policy changed since he was here?
Yes.
It's changed, but he read it. He watched it. They went and got him.
Yeah.
They recruited him. They recruited him. They recruited the man who wanted hotels. I'm trying to figure out how you on the board people all hotels in Alexandria. Am I correct? You own a few hotels?
I do.
Right. So how you make decisions when the money go to your hotels? When Johnny Dow's get people to come here, they go stay at your hotels because you give a discount rate for Johnny Dow's. Is it fair to the public? No, it's not fair. Little League come, you don't put nothing for them. So you give hotels and you give them on vehicles, but you're on the board making decisions for the town of Alexandria. Wow, it's amazing. This man has no respect for the public. Listen, when he asks him something, he's very nasty and ugly, but he represents Alexandria. Greater. Greater. It's not greater. What y'all trying to do is destroy Alexandria and put yourself in places to hold back the black community. We understand, we see it. Ms. Tiffany did an awesome job. She speaks well. She's a great attorney. He fought in the military. I was in the military. I never went to war. His dad was in the military. But we fighting for the wrong stuff. I mentioned this the other day. What are we really fighting for? Power. Power. Destroy the black people, and we're gonna get richer and richer and richer. We see it, we watching. I pray that nobody supports y'all businesses. Either one done it. Because it's real bad what we're going through right now. To take a lady out of position for the power, to bring in a man who don't know nothing about Gator Boy. Mr. Muller was a great man. Mr. Muller did things that was unbelievable. He was in all the places as a leader, making hundreds of thousands of dollars. A strong black man, where I want to be in my future movements forward. But he didn't do favors for people. He did his job. And she's going to do the same thing to keep her doing her job. She can't do favors, because as soon as she do a favor, y'all can put her in prison. So we're watching what y'all doing. And I look at the percentage of money being given to the black community. They don't give a lot of money to the black community. But did we fuss and fight about it? We keep pushing. I put an application in for Gator Boy, I never received $1. Thank you, God. We still made it work. Miss Cat, she donated to my league every year. My kids, they have baseball pants, she gave it to me for $1. When it was costing her store $20. That's business, that's giving back to the community. But I bet y'all for it will give back to the community. Because y'all will kill. You don't like what you see. You change. You make everything about y'all. It's up and you know what you are.
All right, thank you, sir. Any further comments?
I'd like to respond to some of his comments. Yes, I am a hotel owner in this town, and we are proud to serve this community. One thing I will say is that GAEDA's existence is based on hotel occupancy taxes alone. Without hotels, GAEDA would not exist. I am here as a single proxy to ensure that the hotel revenues continue, because that is the only true measure of economic impact to this community. Yes, when it comes to GAEDA funds, absolutely. The greater benefit here is outside monies coming into the community. And that's how the entire community can flourish. That's how we build infrastructure. That's how we build programs. By out of town monies coming in. We can't recirculate our own monies. If we do that, then it's a never-ending circle that we're stuck. And I'm going to comment as to the fact that it's disheartening that some of this is being based on race. And
It's the truth.
and it is disheartening to hear, and I'm sorry that it's coming across that way. But I can tell you one thing. I am here as my fiscal responsibility to GAEDA and no other. Okay? And I'm going to make an example out of the compensation package, okay? The compensation package has a lot to do with monies, okay? If we can cut that compensation package as much as possible, that's more money is going back out to programs that can bring money back into the community.
Public comment is over. Are you done, sir?
No, I'd like to hear what he's, I'm sorry, sir.
How about you cut your rates down to the hotels so you get more to stay? Because nobody locally can stay in the hotel.
That's true, okay? So I'm gonna answer that.
Please, that's not.
He just said this was over, so let's stop it, because it's clear.
Yeah, let's move on to every book to the agenda.
Can I make?
No, I'm gonna,
Okay,
I'm gonna really quickly answer this question.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I'm going to answer your question. We don't build our hotels and operate our hotels with public funds. They're private funds and they're investments. We have to be able to not only survive, but make profit. We are for-profit businesses. And that's the business that we conduct. But in respect to GAEDA, what I want you to know is that it's very important to GAEDA that hotels perform well. And unfortunately or fortunately, the performance of the city, the true gauge that you have is the performance of hotels, because the out-of-town funding, you don't know unless they're actually staying in these hotels. How else do we know that there's money's coming from out of town? Again, unless they're job creations. Respectfully answering your question, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, sir.
There were 3 items on this agenda that I looked at. We had a conversation at our last meeting concern about it being legal. Did we satisfy the 24 hours? I got that. We have the 2 cooperative endeavors. Both of them happen in just a few days. And the way I look at this is a way for us to make sure if it comes back and they say, well, no, it wasn't a legal meeting, that we at least have approved of it.
Who's the day? Who's the day?
Just saying, it's not legal counsel time, where anybody says comments before the budget. Let me say.
Mr. Upton,
All right.
I'm not your employee. I don't work for the gold firm under you, and I don't work for the city of Alexandria. I'm GAEDA's legal counsel. I have never, ever been told to be quiet and shut up, and it won't start today.
Thanks.
I'm very, and again, there was 3 things here. My assumption is regardless of whether this is legal, maybe it is legal. And I'm assuming that what you're saying is absolutely true.
Well, it's what it says here.
And I'm fine with that.
Okay.
But the reason for this had nothing to do with engine. And that's why it's not in my mind. In my mind, we were here to make sure that we were okay in the period. I will tell you, I do not appreciate being called racist. How many years I worked for you? Have you ever seen me do anything racist?
No, sir. But again, why?
I understand the other piece of it.
Why are the items not on the agenda?
No.
All right.
But again, my motion was to make sure we get these 2 cooperative endeavors, get them approved.
There's more than just that. There was more than just that on the agenda.
All right.
I wasn't there.
All right.
On meetings, there was more than just those 2 qualifiers. There were
All right.
others.
Let's get back to order here. We have a motion on the floor for item number 1, on the active items to rescind and declare void on all action taken Monday, February 19, 2024. We have a second for the motion. We had comments, extensive comments by commissioners. We've had extensive comments by the public. Are we ready for it? You have one more comment, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I just would like, Mr. Callis has been squirming and making expression. I would kind of like to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
The timeline does not fall on me lightly. I'm going to try to be as brief as possible. I've heard from Ms. Welter that she was interested in putting me on board. I was happy to help. I'm happy to volunteer. I just now live in the district. And I came to 4 different meetings, and what is falling, I think, on everybody is that as soon as the board started to hear about these changes, all of these meetings started to get crammed into a few days. Right? We all agree with that. In my mind, then I started to educate myself on what are these processes, and I immediately went to the website and I started to look at everything, and I came across a succession plan. And the succession plan, I came to 2 meetings. There was a lot of, I've heard some people say I never came to meetings. I came to 4 meetings before I was actually sworn into the city council. So I just took it upon myself to get educated in this whole process. What happened was on a Friday, if I recall. It's been about a month ago. I've been sick since then. On a Friday, there was the decision, the GAEDA was doing the right thing. It was following the succession plan. It was 20 days into the succession of this plan. And so that everybody knows, GAEDA has a 20-page succession plan. It's been around for 10 years. And the succession plan lays out every specific element of what this process was supposed to happen to after Mr. Mueller was going to step down. So everybody starts to get wound up about everything. The city council's their meeting, GAEDA continues to have theirs. The next day I get sworn in. And then Mr. Upton goes in on Thursday. I start to look at this and that whole succession plan just never happened. 2020, can I finish, please? 20 days of that process out of what looks like several different variations on the succession plan for what should have happened. GAEDA, to me, is too important. It's bigger than one person. It's a process. This, to me, I looked at this meeting on Monday and on this holiday, I don't even know we had it on that holiday. You could have just had it the next day. I was only one person that was getting voted in on that Tuesday. Everybody would still have the vote. You could have had it on the Tuesday. Right?
Well, the same thing applies to oath of offices that we do. Yes, what you're missing is, we didn't do anything because of the city council or what they were doing. We went into executive session, which
I remember
we were
I was
not
there.
privy.
I was there.
Not that executive session.
I was
We
there.
were not privy to talk about things that were happening. And the problem that I'm having with this, and yes, I'm very upset because it had to do with Mr. Mueller, and we're not legally able to talk about it. So there are things that you will never know because you weren't on the board that happened with him.
I get it.
And the reason why we were doing what we were doing as a board, not because of the city council, but as a board, we protected GAEDA.
Okay, can I finish?
Yeah, please.
I see that process, and I don't see a protection of the process of the GAEDA at all. I saw this political thing getting thrown around, and I'm with everybody here. To me, the process is, to me, this is something that has to happen. It has to be right. There were I don't know of a single application. I don't know of a job posting. I don't know of anything that ever happened. And for everybody that's just on the same page here, the word compensation package, I don't see it anywhere on this agenda.
It's not.
It's not on this. We're not talking about any compensation package.
Well, we're talking about the Monday meeting.
So, let me finish. So what happens is that we start to look at this process, and that's where I am really the most concerned about. The succession plan, to me, in order for GAEDA to be a legitimate in the eyes of, and there's obviously an echo chamber that goes on in these situations. I hear it from other people, like, why wasn't this followed? Why wasn't this done? And I'm representing one area. That's I'm representing one specific thing. It just bothers me. And of course, people ask me why I shake my head. I just don't. The timeline is important to me. The timeline is important. The process is important. You know, we have money. We've got things to do. We've got a lot of work to do. And this, to me, we've got to do the right thing. We've got to clean this up. It's got to be, I still don't understand why it wasn't done on a Tuesday. It could have been done on a Wednesday. So that's my comments. I held it back for a little bit, and that's what.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, we had a motion, second, public comment, commission comment. It's time for a vote. Ask for a roll call vote, please.
Ms. Duncan?
Yes.
Mr. Dr. Lewis? Ms. Katz? Yes. Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Patel?
Yes.
Mr. Lauren?
No.
Mr. Callis?
Yes.
Chair motion passes.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's move on to the second item on the agenda, which is to consider the approval of a cooperative endeavor agreement with the Louisiana Beauticians and Barbers Association in the amount of $3,000 for advertising, for marketing, and $5,000 for legal for the 77th Conference Trade Show and Education of Mastering Trends for Beauty Industry Success to be held on April 13th, and I think it's also the 14th, 15th, possibly, in Alexandria, Louisiana. Do we have a motion to approve, the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement with the Beauticians and Barbers Association.
Motion.
Second. Any comments from the commissioners? Any public comments? All in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Do we need a vote? Mr. Taylor, can you vote, or we can do a roll call vote.
So with this, in our executive session for development committee, it was revised to $3,000 for advertising only, for marketing rather. And there was no compensation for meals.
I think we came voted on a regular meeting, we can add it on.
They did.
Okay.
At a regular meeting, we brought that back now.
You weren't there. You wasn't there. They worked.
Okay, well, let's do a roll call.
Mr. Elton,
Yes.
Dr. Lewis, Ms. Katz,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll, Mr. Carroll,
No.
Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Third item on the agenda is to consider approval of the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement with the Louisiana Community Technical College System in the amount of $10,000 for the annual SkillsUSA Louisiana Leadership and Skills Conference to be held on April 15th through 17th, 2024 in Alexandria. We have a motion to approve the Cooperative Endeavor Agreement with Louisiana Community Technical College System.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion from the commissioners? All right, any public comments?
I have a question. So why are they being granted 10,000 and the Louisiana Petition and Barber Association only getting 8,000? From the, Economic Development Committee, the applications, what they were asking for, it's not apples and apples, for regardless of what they're doing. But what their needs were, the number of people who could agree, they came up with a recommendation. They asked for much more, but this is what the committee, grant committee came up with. Oh, got it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have a motion second. We have the commission public comment, so.
I like to say thank you as on behalf of Louisiana State Beauty Barbers Association. I'm disappointed I would have to lose Cleveland, but I just say thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, why don't we do a roll call, please?
I'm sorry, Mr. Elton?
Yes.
Dr. Lewis, Ms. Katz,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
Mr. Morgan,
Yes.
Mr. Powell.
Yes.
All right, well, that concludes our active items. Any comments from the executive director? Any further commission comments?
I do have one comment. It's circulating around social media that this board called a special meeting. The entire board was not called a special meeting. I would like that to be.
Thank you. Any further commission comments? There being none, legal counsel?
Yeah.
Comments?
I want to say a couple of things. I've worked with you the longest, Mr. Farrell, on the board. We have never been adverse, had any crosswords. I truly enjoy you not only as a board member, but as a person and as a board member. Mr. Patel, same things goes with you. We talk about things. I've never been adverse, had any crosswords with any of the current board members, with the exception of Mr. Upton. I think this is his second meeting, nor any of the former board members. I have truly enjoyed working with this board. It is, as someone has said, it is truly disheartening that we are where we are. The issue that I have is everything that was discussed to me may be important, but it wasn't relevant as to that, as to the motion. The motion was declaring that meeting was not properly noticed. And you know, Mr. Carroll, you said, you know, I don't want to make that about race, but I am who I am. I'm a black woman. I'm a double minority. I'm a female and a black woman. not only have I never been called into question by this board about my legal advice to this board, and I've always been able, whether you agree with it, disagree with it. The only question was whether or not it was properly noticed. I gave, and, you know, Mr. Patel says, well, it was, you know, the compensation pact. That wasn't what the motion was. The motion was whether or not it was done legally. That's the only matter that was before this body. And not only.
Responding to the comment regarding compensation.
Yes, sir. So my point, and I don't want to be long-winded, is that was the only question, was whether it was done legally. As your legal counsel, I said to you that it was. And not only that, because I knew that the vote would come down, we all knew what the vote would come down to, right? We all knew the vote. But I wanted to make sure that if you didn't have enough respect for me as your legal counsel to agree with it, that I had it in black and white, right? And regardless of whether or not we like the, you know, the new, what has happened, that wasn't the question about whether we liked it or not, or about how much the amount was, or even who it was. This was whether or not it was legal. And I can say to you, Mr. Carroll and Mr. Patel, because I don't know them, I don't know them. And it's interesting that they have come in and, in my opinion, you know, caused all of this to happen, because we didn't have all this before. And I think you agree with that, don't you? We have our executive director that takes sick in December and is truly disheartening. And as soon as he has this horrific thing happen to him, all this disruption happens. So Mr. Callis is right, the timeline. I agree with that. It's the timeline. And we all know. And let me say one final thing, because I've heard this. I'm an attorney. I have a private practice down the street. This is a contract position for me. Whether this is my last day or not, I'm gonna be all right. Because I always have been. My God makes sure of that. My job was to represent this board. Not the city council, not anybody that appointed me, not Miss Angela, not Mr. Moore, this board. And that's why I depend on the law to tell me what is and what isn't legal. I wish and I would hope that you could have had enough respect for me as your legal counsel that you've had in the past to support me today. But I understand. Thank you.
Can I make a comment?
Yes.
Ms. Sanders, I respect you, I agree with you on a lot of points, but I'm going to, how I feel as a board member, my job here is to question. I have a duty to do that. I have a duty to look at the data, look at the financials, look at the legal, and always ask questions. I'm happy to disagree with you on many, many things, but it's only in the interest of GAEDA that process is, these things are looking good. I ask questions, we all ask questions, and that's really, you know, it's amazing to me, like, it's not amazing. I get it. I'm like, it's a lot of stuff's political, I don't understand, but we are going to ask questions. We're going to do it.
And I expect you to.
Yeah, and because this is my area too, and there's a lot of it you're going to educate me about, and I appreciate that. But if there is something that we disagree on, or we feel like there's a direction that GAEDA, like the U-Court thing, the AG opinion was an example. We need to be able to talk to you candidly about that.
I understand. And I respect that. But Mr. Callis, would you not agree though, there is an executive, Ms. Paula said this, there's an executive committee for the purposes of this. And instead of us calling a meeting, right? You know, this is something, and I have not heard one person refute the law or what I said. It's just, we're gonna vote no because we didn't like it. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, but other outside of refuting it, what else could it be, right? And so, Mr. Callis, you know, I've never had a conversation with you. I have truly enjoyed my relationship with the commissioners. I really have. And, you know, perhaps that will happen with us. Hopefully it will. But I just, this is, and Mr. Upton, I will say to you that I've never met you. I don't know you outside of last month's meeting. I've heard that you were a nice guy. Somebody said to me, he's really a nice guy. And I just was taken aback because there was no communication and this is just boom in my head. And if it happened to you, I'm sure you would feel the same way. Because we have phones. I have two in my purse now. There was, and I don't know who has told you what, but I would rather you get your opinion of me off of our experience and our relationship. But I can certainly say to you, as you can probably imagine, we're not getting started off on a good foot. And it's because the respect. And regardless of the disrespect that you've shown me, I'm going to continue to show you respect, Mr. Upton, no matter whether I'm here or not.
Thank you very much. Mr. Terrio, any comments?
No.
Okay.
I would like to have a quick response. In reading that, I do believe you're correct. Okay. Coming into this meeting, I had no idea about what was going on, but I did want to make sure that these two things were approved because of the timeline. That was my deal. This was not about me. I've loved Angie for a long time. We've had a wonderful relationship. I've had a good relationship with you. Don't take this as, I think you were wrong.
Well, that's what that vote did, though, Mr. Carroll.
I know that's the way you feel about it.
Well, that's what it did.
Just in case that, because by the way, I've been wrong in my life before, a lot. Okay. Just in case, we're all here to go, let's do this, let's get these two things approved so these people can have their money. And if somebody were to challenge, and I don't know who that would be, and I would assume it would never happen, and I would look at it. But we're gonna be okay. This to me was not about me.
But it is about me, because now.
I know with the other stuff I get off there.
Now the meeting has been said that it wasn't properly. You got all these other people paid. What about me?
Yeah.
What about me? Where do we?
You are where you are today. I don't think we made no decisions here to change
And,
anything.
you made for me.
No decisions were made to change anything that's in place right now.
You voided her contract.
If you voted that day, you did. That's the.
No, you voided her contract today. She has no contract.
All right, do we have a motion to adjourn? A second? Second. Okay, all in favor?
Because the deputy.
So I wouldn't want to go.
I know, my favorite.
I'm